good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Boom Bar on Boom Radio NG. My name is Shola Rogers.
And my name is Ola Delakwa. Welcome. Bid you warm welcome to the bar again this beautiful Monday afternoon. If you're wherever you're listening to us from Nigeria, if you're in Nigeria, happy holidays. We're still on holiday. Anywhere else, just go with the flow. That's the way we are. Keep in mind there's another holiday in a few days' time. Happy new week. Actually, it's a brand new week again. Yes, it is a brand new week. It's at the Spirit Leads today.
Well, it's funny how people change though from complaining about people saying Happy New Month.
I will not
to imbibing the culture.
I probably would not send that as a message to anybody. I would not.
It's
I
shocking.
still wouldn't.
It shows growth and evolution and maturity.
Excuse you. Yeah. I still would not send that message. I still do not want anybody to send me the message. We're on radio. That's different. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about love. Thanks you for joining us for the very first time. This is the Boom Bar, like we had said. We sit back, relax, get drinks. In between that, there's a lot of gist around stuff that's happening in Nigeria and around the world. And today is no different. We're going to be talking about Sudan. Sudan is in the top is on the top burner for everybody, not just in Nigeria, all around the world, and there are a lot of updates coming from there. Now the major story that is getting out is how nations across the world are trying to get out their citizens from Europe to the Americas to Asia to Africa. Everybody's trying to get out. Even the Sudanese, there's stories of how they're trying to get out of their own country. So yeah, that we're going to be doing a lot of that, dwelling on a lot of that. From that, there's also story coming from Kenya. Very, very sad one that we're going to be talking about. Now it's become an international story. The president is even involved in this particular one. Sit back, relax, just wait. We will definitely get around to that. There's a lot of entertainment stories. Twitter and Elon Musk is trying doing everybody the way, or let me say some people the way they like, the way he likes. We definitely will get to that. Yesterday was Davido's Timeless concert. A lot of people definitely were looking forward to that. Definitely happened yesterday. We're going to be taking one or two things from that. There are a few other things. There's a bit of football here and there. It was a very, very interesting weekend. And from that, we'll see how that goes. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show as it begins right now.
So, quickly, as Dulukwat pointed out, that's what it is. Let's talk about what's going on in Sudan. Sudan is on the front burner. We are concerned about the escalation. Now, sadly, I've been seeing questions on social media how people are still asking questions like, oh, what really happened in Sudan? What's the cause of the crisis? And before we talk about the stage of evacuation, I just do a bit of a background to just let people know that I think it was about 30 years ago or so, there was a coup, that brought in Omar al-Bashir, and he became a sit-tight leader. He was there for decades, and in the process, he had created the militia that has rebranded itself as the RSF, and that militia is said to have been used by him for all sorts of things. So there's the Central Sudan Army, and there's this militia, very strong, over 100,000 strong. They've fought alongside the army itself, and worked with the army. So when they decided to kick out the dictator, everybody thought that was the end, and they had promised to organize a transition. It's been years now, I think 2 or 3 years down the line, and there's no transition happening. It's just two generals in quote who are number one and number two. Now, one of the plans that was, instigated about 2 years ago was that the militia or the RSF will be absorbed into the army. They will now become full soldiers, right? But the thing about that now is they now were arguing about when it should be. One party wants it to be done in 2 years. That's the army. Said, look, the whole integration should not take more than 2 years, while the militia wants it to be done in 10 years in phases. So the army is like, why should it take 10 years for, this group to be absorbed into the army? After all said and done, people have made references to external influences from other countries. But again, people must also realize that Sudan also has a lot of gold. And, that could also be one of the reasons. But most especially, it's just two men who are actually at loggerheads.
It's literally the conversation of the idiom that said when two elephants are fighting. This is like the literal meaning of that, basically. And of course, that fight has now made it into what it is right now, causing deaths of hundreds and hundreds of people around Sudan, and really making a lot of people move out. Before we even start from different countries and what a lot of countries are talking about, I think that everybody, and this is what, a few people have said this. I think that whether we like it or not, not whether we like it or not, more like Nigerians should cut Nigeria some slack.
Okay.
They should cut the government some slack. I think that, call it whatever it is you want to call it, but especially if you are not on a diplomatic mission to another country, you went to that country on your own volition. Yes, you are going to come up with the argument that the country is responsible for everybody, which I agree. Yeah, I do not doubt that fact. But if you are not on diplomatic mission, meaning that there is a very large, there's the country, your own country might not even know you are where you are at that point. Them evacuating you is, I don't want to call it a privilege. I will call it more like a favor. They did not send you there. That's my own opinion. Let's call it spade a spade. They did not send you to that country. Why I said that, diplomatic missions, people that work in the embassies and all that, yes, the country has an obligation. Yes, with every citizen. Yeah, we can say the country has an obligation to protect its citizens wherever they are. But don't make it seem like there are countries that have not done the exact same thing, or they're not even doing as much. But we are very quick to just make a lot of noise. Now, there's been a lot of stick that has been handed to the Nigeria Diaspora Commission and its boss. And it's very interesting how, I saw a post earlier, was it today, that someone posted a picture of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And the president is like, this is the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Like, we have a whole minister. How come there's one agency under the whole Ministry of Foreign Affairs that is being attacked at the moment? And I think that one of the reasons is because they've always really been at the forefront of getting Nigerians out and all that. So, yeah, but maybe we really should just cut them some slack. So, getting right into it. According to the Nigeria Emergency Management Agency, that's NEMA, they are now talking about how they're planning to evacuate about 5,500 stranded Nigerians in Sudan by road through Egypt. They're saying that, according to the Director of Special Duties, they're saying that there are plans to get buses to move people today to Egypt or in Cairo specifically, so that a lot of these people can be then airlifted from Cairo, because we know that
Nigeria.
yes, from a lot of we know that planes literally can't get into and there are also a lot of countries that are basically doing the exact same thing.
So there are some Nigerian students there who have left Khartoum, which is the capital city, and they've made their way to the border. There's a young lady that made a video. She's made about 3 videos now, and how helpful the Nigerian embassy has been to them. And she said that they tried to cross into Ethiopia via the land border, and they were refused access. They were told that they would only be allowed into Ethiopia if they had visas. Now they don't have visas, because they are based in Sudan.
Yeah.
So they have to try to go back to Sudan to get visas on their Nigerian passports to gain access into Ethiopia. And she said the Eid break, there's been a long break for Eid there too, is affecting that, plus the fighting and things that are happening in and around that side. So the situation there now is that they're allowing Sudanese people into Ethiopia as refugees or whatever, but most of the Nigerians that try to cross need an Ethiopian visa.
So I think this was what the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was trying to talk about, that I think they now have like sort of an alliance with Egypt that people can be moved. I saw a headline where the NIDCOM boss was talking about how students need to go back into their schools, that the schools is probably the safest at the moment, and that so the Nigerian embassy has plans to convey people from their schools.
So they go back to the schools and lie low and be safe, because the lady also said in her video, the Nigerian lady said in her video that their friends in Khartoum are updating them on how dangerous it had become. That stray bullets are flying, they're hearing gunshots, heavy gunshot, and bomb blast, and all of that. So again, asking them to stay in their schools, has to be for a short period before the troops get there, or else they're really going to be in trouble. I hope that there's some kind of shelter somewhere though. But this is a serious situation. This is something that the whole world needs to act fast and do something quick about it before, these militia and military bandits in the name of whatever get to them.
Yeah,
it's a very dicey situation.
It's
now.
very dicey. Everybody has something to say. Like there's news about British citizens feeling trapped in Sudan. They're talking about how the UK government seems to have abandoned them. The UK government on its part is saying that they're finding ways to see if there'll be a ceasefire for a couple of hours or for days, that a lot of people will be able to.
There was one announced.
There was one. It just never.
The fire just didn't cease.
It just never ceased. It just never ceased. It's a very, very, very sad situation. Also, still coming from there, I know that Air Peace had offered free evacuation for Nigerians stranded in Sudan. Now, the issue I have with that is that I know that Air Peace has really helped move people a lot from a lot of these countries. I remember, it wasn't Afghanistan. There was this other country a few months ago that they needed to move Nigerians out of Ukraine. Yes, I know Air Peace also helped. I think that Air Peace also, in my own opinion, I think they need to be careful. Also, probably do liaise with the federal government or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and not just put out news. Yes, you have offered free evacuation. Okay, carry your plane and fly there now. Do you get? I think that some of these things, at times, it comes off as cheap publicity. You probably don't even have, not probably, you do not have a clearance to go to Sudan. So don't give people false hope at the moment. That's not what they need.
We're talking about people in Sudan. The UK have also revealed that 2,000 card carry. I mean, I said card carrying. Too much politics. 2,000 British passport within people are registered that they are in Sudan. Wow. That's over 2,000 of them. Nigeria, on the other hand, we're talking about over 5,500
people.
Nigerians who need to be evacuated, from Sudan. And with the 3 borders, I'm glad that they were able to sort out the system with Egypt. Now, I kind of understand where APC is coming from. They have this humanitarian angle to their business and everything. But again, your point is very strong so that you don't heat up the polity. Mm-hmm. A lot of people who do not understand governance and
diplomacy, yeah,
will jump the gun and say, the government, they've given you plane, go and carry people. Nah. Mm-hmm. In fact, if they're going to use airpiece alone, they probably need to make at least 10 flights. So I don't know if they're going to deploy 10.
According to, I think NEMA, they're talking about how they're getting multiple planes to get about 2,500 to about 3,000 people lifted at the same time.
Yeah, so that's what it is. So that's why I'm saying that will airpiece be deploying about 10 planes. I'm not sure they can do that.
Let's be coming down.
So every other airline too. And they will still get paid though. That's the truth.
That's the thing. Do you understand? So I'm like, let's be coming down with you're probably, not probably. Remember in Ukraine, they were not the only ones that were used to, they were not the only airline that were used to move people out. So we really
but I would still like to commend them for always, championing this and wanting to help. Again, it has to be a balance, and there's a system that you need to key into, because for your own safety too, for the safety of your brand and your crew, all these things have to be observed. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I've also seen a lot of people talk about is how come there's so many Nigerians in Sudan? How come this and how come that? I think a lot of education has to be done for our people. Sudan has a very, very, very strong educational system. They even had universities before Nigeria did.
Yeah, and I know that I read it because, to be honest with you, one of the questions I had to is that, what are you looking for in Sudan?
Yeah, you did that last week, so you're one of the people.
It was a very honest question.
Yeah, I didn't say it was.
So bad. I did a bit of reading, and I saw that countries like Sudan and Ethiopia, they have very, very good advanced learning processes and all. Even though in the last couple of years, Sudan has had a lot of issues. Mm-hmm. Let's call it spade a spade. They've actually really had a lot of issues. So even if I wanted to go to an African country for schooling, I'm not sure Sudan will be one of my top 3. Even though they have like really good, but how would I say, is this fighting they're having now, it has been a long time. Don't let me say everybody knows, because it's not a lot of that. But if you follow the news for the past few years, there's been the issue with South Sudan. Sudan has not been particularly, would I say, restful for a number of years now. So maybe I still feel that Sudan was still not a wonderful option for schooling, as much as, yes, the schooling was good. Another thing that I would have said was that I don't know why this happens a lot. And I maybe I need a bit of clarity or a bit of explanation, but you tend to see a lot of what's the word now? You tend to see that a lot of people don't move out of places until maybe the war breaks out. I remember very well in the place of Ukraine, where A lot of countries, take for example the US, a lot of people say putting out travel advisories. People need to get out very fast. People need to get out before it was, because it's basically really about intelligence, some intelligence report here. There's always been stories and all that, and they've put it out. On the side of the Nigerian government, maybe they need to be a bit more proactive and put out more intelligence reports about these things. Maybe more travel advisories. We see that we don't see a lot of that from the Nigerian government. Maybe it's time to actually put a lot of those things out there. It probably would help. But the bottom line for me is that people actually need to be more vigilant. I hope, or I would have thought that a lot of people, schooling or not, a lot of people who should have moved out. If it was just a few days before, maybe a week before, it probably would have helped a lot. I would not have thought that it would, it seems like as much as Sudan was not very restful, you wouldn't expect that there's so many people with different nationalities right there. There are a lot of EU had come out saying that there are about 1,500 citizens that they have gotten out. The UK is talking about them in thousands. Of course, Nigeria, and there are a lot of other people. So I really honestly feel that, at least at the moment, we know that all that one, there's really nothing anybody can do about it anymore. The bottom line now is that people need to find where that is safe enough. It is, for me, I think it is wonderful, wonderful news that at least there is headway to where people can actually move out. Nigerians can be taken out of the country. Also, there are a lot of updates coming from different countries. Now, China has also said that they've evacuated its first group of citizens. This was said today by Beijing's foreign minister. They've begun evacuating a lot of their citizens as well. So you wonder, it's almost like every country in the world has everybody. The world is really, really a global village, because there's some people on a, what's it called? You're like, okay, Chinese people in Sudan, really?